Hello and welcome to yet another release of Intune, this time 2305. Nicola and I, we're back. Good to see you,
Yeah,
Nicola.
and as you can see, it's sunny outside. It's starting to get to the summer period here in Sweden, where I am. It looks sunny outside, and where you are as well. It's
Yep,
nice.
absolutely. It's good weather. The report says the next 7 days is all sun.
Nice. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Then we can go outside. You know what's that? Do we do that?
No,
Good.
we don't. It's bad for the skin, isn't it?
Yeah, all the sunscreen and stuff. Anyway, cool. Yeah, like you said, Matthias, there's new service release that we need to talk about, and there's quite a few interesting pieces in here.
Mm?
Did we have any important notices to talk about for this month? I don't believe so, no, right?
Nah, I don't think so. The store for business is deprecated, and it's one step all the time. So, but I think we'll cover some of that during this session.
Good stuff. So the first part that we have is that remote help administrators will be able to reference audit log sessions.
Yes.
That
So,
sounds cool.
what is that all about? That is all about. So when yeah, we use remote help, right? We need some audit on that. And basically what we get here is when you go to the tenant administration and we go to the audit logs here, we should be able to see something around the activities here and the target and so forth. And you can see now I have some remote help. I have an end remote assist session and I have a create remote session. And if we look inside that, you can see who is the actor, the IT pro. That was me. I initiated this session, and I did that from a host called Mastering Intune. So if we look into it, if I go to the remote help and initiate the session, let's see, is this the right one? It wasn't.
Is it the mastering Intune one?
Yeah. This one. And we sign in. Yes, let's stay signed in. And we are there yet. So I want to give some help. I get the security code, and Nikolai, we covered this in one of the other videos we did. But basically what happens when I send this code and we initiate the contact here in remote help, simply we have the audit logs here. That's pretty neat.
It's pretty cool, actually. Now they just need to go and fix the enrollment status profile so that they also produce audit logs, because it doesn't.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of it either until I had to look into why something has changed in one of the ESP profiles that we had. And I was surprised that I could not find it. So, but it's filed. Hopefully, the Microsoft is aware of it. Hopefully we can talk about this in an upcoming video shortly.
Would
I
be
hope.
nice.
It would be nice for sure. But there's some additional remote help new features in terms of conditional access. That's cool.
Absolutely. Yes. So the conditional access stuff here is that, well, we are finally able to secure, you could say, the cloud application we have on remote help session. So the application name you see here is, well, the one you also see in the Azure portal. So for example, if I went here to portal.azure.com, and I go into my enterprise application apps. Let's go in here and go to there. We could search for remote. Nope. There you see remote assistance services. This app is not here by default. This is something you need to put in there. And how do you put that in there? Well, go to Intune, remote help documentation. And then you go all the way down here in the bottom somewhere. And then we look for the setup conditional access for remote help. So you open this PowerShell admin window, you download the Azure AD Preview module, and then you simply run this new Azure AD principal with this ID, and you're set to be able to set up conditional access for your app. So I actually did that.
I'm curious to understand what sort of rule set that you put in place.
Yeah. So let's look at that. I don't have many policies in my environment here, but I have this. I have given it the name Cloud Apps Remote Help, location all, devices any, and client any. So when you have run the PowerShell, what you get is that you will be able to see this remote assistance service. So you can select that as a application. I made 2 conditions. I have any device. Yes, you can only run it right now on the Windows side, but nevertheless, I have client apps chosen 4. And then the important stuff is the grant parameter here. So I have a grant access if I am a compliant device, and if not compliant, I require some authentication strength here with multiple or MFA.
So is this for the one who only gives, let's say, the helper, or is it for everybody?
For everyone opening remote help. I could, of course, say not all users, but and simply put it to my administrators and those IT folks I know is going to use it. And I have also put in a sign-in frequency period here to re-authenticate given 1 hour. So to make sure that, simply the token is renewed.
I mean, it could be a little bit problematic if you set up your conditional access rule, right, with require managed device or compliant device, then the user who needs help is in a non-compliant state, and the policy enforces him to be, in a compliant state, and he's actually, or she's reaching out to get assistance to get into a compliant state again. So that's funny. So think about those scenarios when
absolutely. And actually, I have a scenario here, Nikolai, where mastering Intune demo, right? So let's look into the device, how that looks like. Mastering Intune. It's a Commands device, and it's actually non-compliant. So for this demo, let's put in the password here. And right away, you saw my other device. It went straight in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was because it was compliant. Now I have a condition where my device is not compliant. So it's asking me to authenticate with MFA. So I put in the MFA token here on this number. And straight away, you see, I can, on a non-compliant device, actually get the help, but I now require that I'm MFA'd. So this is a step up on security for sure.
Absolutely. And this is only set up because you have made the OR grant type, right?
Not all,
in like both MFA and compliant device, right? So you put in OR as the grant type in there.
Exactly. Yeah. And here you can see my user that I used, and you can see the application, remote assistance services, and you can see that simply, this lock is always behind, right? So I did this earlier today, and I did some failures and did some interruptions, and I did some success here. So this is pretty good. And once I actually, put in the code and stuff, it is going to tell me that, hey, your device is non-compliant. I'm sure you still want to help this person. So I think we are on the right path here with the help tool.
Yeah, it's like we've said in previous videos, right? It's getting better and better for each release, I would say. This is a huge addition in terms of functionality. I mean,
absolutely.
Here you can go wild and crazy and set up your rule set in conditional access. And depending on who you are, who's being helped, whatnot, you could have different conditions on how you can establish that. remote help session. That's cool.
Yep, absolutely.
So next up, we can now do some ADMX policy configuration for Visual Studio.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool, I would say, maybe. I'm not too sure. The settings catalog has yet again been extended with additional stuff, which that in fact is cool, though, that settings catalog is getting bigger and bigger, and you get more configuration options in there. When I read this, I was just trying to remember or recall an instance in my previous work experience if I had ever applied ADMX for Visual Studio, and I don't think I've ever encountered such a scenario. Maybe it's a common one. I've just been lucky enough to miss it, but
yeah. The thing is, if you migrate it to Windows Update for Business, you get patches from where? You get patches for Windows, right? Quality patches, feature patches, drivers, and firmware.
Oh, you are onto something, yeah.
But you're not getting anything for Visual Studio, are you?
That is correct, sir.
So how do you get it from Visual Studio? Back in the days when we had WSUS, you could have that as a category, and then you could patch Visual Studio, right? So one of the good things here is that I'm not going to inject ADMX anymore. Now it's part of the settings catalog. I can go to the install and update settings. I can, if I don't want automatic updates, I can disable that and so forth. So all of a sudden, I can also set up a patch schedule for my Visual Studio here within the settings catalog, like for Office, for Edge, for OneDrive, for Teams, so forth. So it makes sense to have this setting in here.
It's actually kind of cool because, I mean, obviously I use it quite a lot, and I'm always getting prompted. There's a new update. Go ahead and install it. Unfortunately, I can do that, which is maybe not the best case in all scenarios, but yeah, I completely didn't even think about the update scenario. That's really that's a good one. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
I thought it was more like, hey, have this default template for when you create an ASP.NET project or something. Those kind of things. Like, why would you set that? But updates, yeah that makes sense for sure.
Exactly. That brings us to the next fantastic topic, right? Group policy analytics.
Topic. You're really killing it here. Yeah. So group policy analytics, it supports scope tags. Woohoo! We have been logging for this one, I think.
Yeah. No,
it's been a while since I used it myself. So, but when I did, the feature was awesome. So,
not very long time ago on MMS, one of the speaking topics were migrating off GPOs. So I recently spent time on researching in this area. So if you go to the group policy analytics, well, before when you did an import of your file, once you browsed the file, it would upload it, and that's it, right? All of a sudden now we have this flow that you remember from anything else within the console when you do stuff. So when I browse for a XML, now it's not uploading right away as it would before. Now we actually get this next button, and you can add a scope tag. So you can make this available for the help desk or the Windows admins or the German department or the American department or whoever is going to be able to see this. So that's a step up in migrating XMLs to Intune policies.
I can really see that this feature has come a long way since I first actually publicly talked about this, because I remember I met one of the developers at Ignite 2019 when this was extremely early. And I got into the private preview, and I got an approval as well to speak about it at the upcoming Experts Live Europe event in 2019. I think that was in November or October or something. And I could demo this a little bit, and I thought at the time was very exciting because it would help a lot of organizations, easily make the the transition over to cloud instead of Active Directory and group policies and the hybrid join scenarios and stuff. And it has come a long way. I mean, I see the migrate button, all those things that was talked about back then. Even the UI is way more appealing than it was back then when I looked at it and when we used it 3 years ago for the first time. So yeah, definitely look this up if you are in this position where you are trying to decide whether you should go with hybrid or not and migrate everything to Intune.
Absolutely.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And now comes the most interesting news, I would say, of this service release. It is Proactive Remediations has been renamed, and it's now called Remediations. And where is it located? Is it under reports, under endpoint analytics, under Proactive Remediations? No.
Nope.
Is it
well,
still
it used to be.
If you go in there, by the way, I haven't looked.
It used to be here.
It's still
Proactive Remediations, right?
Exactly. So now you have two places to the same thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You see that it's the same scripts.
Same scripts.
Same scripts.
Yep.
Just new
name.
name.
Could I ask you a favor, Matthias? Could I ask you to click on Buy Platform and the Windows option there?
This one?
Yes. Do we have remediations here?
Nope.
Is Proactive Remediations currently for anything else than Windows?
Nope.
Nope. Wouldn't it make sense to list it in here?
Yep.
Yep.
Right under the PowerShell.
Please, fix. I don't know about everyone else, but I click on the Buy Platform hundreds of times a day. That's how I work. I work 95% with Windows devices. So I feel it's really making the navigation a little bit easier.
But does it exist in here? I haven't looked, actually.
I would guess not.
Where is it?
You have no icons in here, so it's really hard to navigate.
I have configurations. It's not there. I have compliance. It's not there. I have scripts. It's not there. I have... No, it's not here.
Boo.
Yeah,
but this is a preview, so we can understand that. Yeah. And hopefully this preview will be enhanced a little bit and worked on and improved over time. But still, I mean, obviously we need to just select one. We should at least just, say, thank you, Microsoft, for moving it up from endpoint analytics and putting it in the place where it should have been in the first place.
Yeah.
It's really good. I'll just please improve it and include it under Buy Platform to put it even better.
But Nikolai, another thing you could say is only for Windows, right? It's a group policy analytics,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. So but that is in preview. Haha. So you could excuse yourself with that. No, I know a little bit why it has been put there. I understand that, but my feedback is still that it should also be under Buy Platform. Buy Platform makes a lot of sense in terms of navigating this portal, depending on what sort of persona you are, what you're working with, and so forth, especially for larger enterprises, for sure.
Absolutely.
But it's cool. No, enough about remediations. There is also some network traffic rules that has been added to the VPN profiles for Windows.
Yes. And here we're actually going a step back because we need to go into the templates. So when we go to devices, we go to Windows, we go to configuration profiles. We used to, create profile, and we always tell people to not go to templates, but go to settings catalog, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this case, the news is around the template and then down to the VPN, which is, by the way, not new. This template has been here for a very, very long time. But there has been implemented some new stuff to the VPN. So if I pick and choose just one of those, I should be able, and I say should, go to apps and traffics, and I should be able to click something here, associated apps with this connection, and click Add. And I should have something called direction in here. I don't have it in my portal. I have checked a couple of portals, but it's not there. So I cannot show it, but the thing is how the traffic is able to flow, outbound or inbound and so forth.
So it's probably one of those things that was intended for the service release, but in the late hour, it was simply just pulled for whatever reason, or it's being rolled out in a different schedule at some point, and it might show up in the next week or two or something.
Simply like that, yes.
Could be. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So since we cannot show it, let's figure out something else that we could show, which is the new security baseline for the Microsoft 365 Enterprise for Apps. Or Apps for Enterprise. I can never get that right. These marketing names.
It's such an easy word, right? It's
yes. So Office. Way easier.
Yeah. Office, yeah, please, right. So we got a couple of baselines, security baselines that was updated. So we have a bundle here of Microsoft 365 Office apps, and we have also Microsoft Edge. So simply, and the beauty about Intune and these security baseline is that it is just there. It's so easy to implement. There's nothing to select here. It's already pre-selected for you. You click create, and then you can have your baseline. So you simply set in here what you would like, and yeah, next, assign it to your devices. And your baseline is basically ready, and your devices.
And I just have to say, I can't wait for this to be migrated over to being built upon the settings catalog. Let's call it framework, right?
Yeah.
So that we can actually get some useful reporting back that's not completely broken, and actually trust that these things are set and look at them.
Yeah,
but I mean, from a future perspective, this is awesome, right? Because there's so much to set. If you look in the ADMX files, right, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things. And where do you start? Well, this is a good start. So look at it, test it out, see if it works, see if it breaks any of your plugins or add-ins or anything like that, or specific application usage that you may have with these Office apps after this policy has been applied.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't have any apps or add-ins or macros that run in your Office?
Nobody has them.
I believe most have, right?
Yeah.
So, but there is actually a very easy way to look into that. If you go to the inventory, you should be able to see your add-ins and your channels, etc. My environment, of course, does not have that much, but I've seen environments with over 300 add-ins here. So be careful what you add into the security baseline.
I'm just curious. I want to go in there right now to see how many add-ins that I actually have in our environment.
Yeah.
Just because when you said that, I haven't looked in a while. I'm not reading the one.
What I am pretty interested in is to see how many Office builds you have.
Oh, I know we have many. I looked at that some months ago.
Yeah. And how many unsupported builds you have as well.
That I will not disclose for you, my friend.
Yeah. In the meantime.
Oh, whoa. Wow. Okay. That was not what I expected.
You have a lot?
More than 500. And more.
So if you were kind of in a 32-bit world, how would you proceed going to a 64-bit? That's kind of the question, right? If you have config manager,
some of the names in here is a little bit interesting, like Microsoft Exchange add-in. Office extensions?
The viewers get interested here, Nikolai. You should share your screen.
With you, but not on a recording.
You can't do that. You can't do that. But nevertheless,
Yeah.
it's a good portal to go there. There's not much you can do about the plugins or the add-ins and stuff. You can only view data. Unfortunately, when you have Config Manager, you're able to actually have some more insights in how your Office package is. And I really hope that this portal also get more possibilities to kind of, it could be nice to say, okay, I want to upgrade to 64 bits. What would happen to my environment? Kind of a what if setting or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So baselines on Microsoft 365 Office apps. We also have a new baseline for Edge, and the same goes for Edge, right? We want to have secure browsing. How do you do that? You do that by, well, have some baselines. And again, maybe not all the settings is for you. And then if we had like settings catalog where we could say, no, I don't want that, I don't want that, I don't want that. So it didn't figure in here as a policy. Yes, you can go here and you can say not configured, but it would rather be nice to just remove it so it wasn't in here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Let's see if we get that at some point.
Hopefully, in the future.
Yeah. Yes.
And then on our favorite topic, DFCI.
So we've talked about that a couple of times, didn't we, Nikolai?
Yeah.
And the thing about that is, well, that you can configure certain things in your BIOS settings, right, from a remote perspective. And we currently get that for Dynabooks, which is Fujitsu. I think it's a Fujitsu device. So again, this is just a news we cannot show you. It's just we're getting more and more device types that is supported on DFCI, and that's a good thing. I really look forward to also have Lenovo
vendors, being introduced into this or something similar that would make life so much easier.
Yeah, and I mean it's not that we know something is coming. It could just be nice if some of the big vendors would jump into this as well.
Absolutely. The next topic for this release is, in my opinion, really, really cool, because the eSIM configuration possibilities that we have had in the past with Intune has been somewhat limited. It's been a little bit too complex to set up. You had to import files, make sure that whenever the eSIM activation codes run out from that imported file, you then need to import more. I couldn't really understand the logic through all of that. It didn't feel like it was something that you would put out there and that it could actually scale. It felt like it had too much manual configuration attached to it somehow. But with this new functionality, though, what is it you get now?
Yep. The thing is now it's part of the settings catalog, so it's kind of easy to configure because now Microsoft put all the work to the vendor, so to speak. So if you go to the settings catalog now,
I like the thinking of that, having someone else doing the job for me, right?
Yeah, but it's a rather a it's like autopilot now, right? So you kind of do some co-work here. You say the vendor who have the telephony services, they kind of build the service for you, and then you can go and grab that full qualified domain name for that service. So that could be test at memtips pick, for example, we have auto enabled set to enable, and then we also say display UI, local UI here, because then you can actually do changes within the settings on the device. If you disable that, you need in the documentation it says you need this auto enabled discovery of the site. Otherwise, if you have this enabled, you can also put it in there manually. Is my guess. I haven't configured it though. And then the thing is, if we go to the documentation and click on that link, we should have a drawing here how it actually works. So you are the customer or the admin on Intune side. You have this MDM system. You have it integrated with Azure Active Directory, and then you have this operator where you put in this full qualified domain name services. And then the operator has this site where they publish and make sure that your device would get the information it needs in order to be able to use the eSIM. Microsoft recommends that you assign these policies to device and only to assigned devices to make sure that your device actually have eSIM as a hardware thing on the specific device. But I think this is pretty easy to set up, and I think this is a game changer in how we can be ever connected to the internet without having Wi-Fi all over the place.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you're one of those companies who, have like 5G or similar built into your hardware, this is so much easier to set up. You make, just like Matthias said, you set up a profile, you have Intune distribute it, the profile is applied, profile reaches out and applies the eSIM profile. It could not be easier. And everything is handled essentially by the operator and the eSIM server. Way much easier.
Absolutely.
Cool. I like this. I need to go look at it, actually.
Yeah.
So much sense. But you need to be on Windows 11, right?
That's the only caveat. Or maybe that's a smart move. Smart move to make people go to Windows 11, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So 22H2 it is on Windows 11, and then you're supported for this change.
It's cool. Now we need to talk about some deprecation, I think.
Yeah.
What is going on with the Microsoft Store for Business these days? I've noticed that we can now remove those applications that we synchronized in the past.
Absolutely. And thing is, we do not have to do much because we are in this SaaS solution, and Microsoft is taking care of most of it. But as of now, you can no longer see the connection to the Windows Store for Business. That's simply a way that's gone from the console. The other thing we now can is that we can actually go and search by the Microsoft Store for Business app, and we can actually delete it now. This was not a possibility before.
Yeah. So here's a recommendation. Go and delete these applications. You will not be able to use them very, very soon. Or right now, I would say maybe.
So, and it actually writes here that this application is no longer synced or updated from the Microsoft Store, enforcing existing Microsoft Store app for business apps on a device still supported, but will soon be blocked. So go do something. Delete it.
Go delete stuff. We always talk about cleaning up your environment, right?
Yeah.
And the last thing for today's video is about Defender. I'll leave that to you, Matthias. You love Defender.
Yeah, I'm the security guy, right? I'm the Matt Call guy here in this session.
We should invite Matt at some point, and I'll just lean backwards and listen to two funny blokes go about security.
Indeed, we should. So this is new settings we get for the antivirus. If we go to the Windows 10, Windows 11, and Windows Server, and into the Microsoft Defender antivirus and create some new stuff here, we will immediately see, or when it's done loading, come on,
You have so many settings in there now, so.
Yep. So it takes time to load, if ever coming. Yep. Okay, there it is.
There we go.
So down here, we have a lot of new settings for, yeah, to simply be able to set up for our Defender. Let's see if I got the right ones. Yes, I did, down here. I don't exactly know why I would disable HTTP parsing, but I guess someone from security would at some point say this shouldn't be allowed, for example. Then, well, it just became easier to disable this stuff. And if not here, where should you go and do that stuff? Well, that's
And
a
now
good
you don't
question,
need
right?
to use like a custom profile or anything like that, or
Exactly.
script device, or put it there in registry stuff or anything like that.
Enable DNS sinkhole. I think that's a pretty cool name.
Sinkhole. Forward all DNS queries to this sinkhole and forget about them.
Yes, yes. Kind of the Star Wars Death Star or something like that.
The Death Star. Just blow everything up.
Yeah, but for example, do not update Defender on metered network or something like that. It makes sense that you're able to do that.
I would
kind
say
of
force
configurations.
update Defender even on metered connections, right?
Always.
Always.
Always, yes. And I had on the Nordic Summit we had earlier this year, I also told how you could put Defender updates into a ring structure. And at that time, it was only the custom OMA that was supported. And that was what I showed. Now you can actually configure both the update channel and the platform channel. So you can make your ring structure by creating a couple of Defender antivirus profiles. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Moving everything into, or moving everything off custom profiles, that I'm all for. It makes so much less.
Me too.
Consolidating everything.
Yes.
Cool. So that was the service release of 2305 from the Windows perspective.
Indeed it was.
Thank you for watching. And
thank you for watching.
Have a good day. Talk to you later.
See you, Nikolai.